All right, today I want to talk about how do you keep your non-retired friends um, when you're retired. So let's start out with like my four types of friends, right? So I have my neighborhood friends, which we've been in this same house for I don't know, like 30, it's 30 years, maybe a little less. And for the most part, our neighbors have been in that range too. So we've gotten to be really good friends with them. We walk. Our kids have gone to sports together. We walk together. We have Halloween parties. We hang out on Friday nights. Like we do a lot of stuff with them. So that's my first group of friends. My second group of friends is friends from church, which are kind of in the same category, right? We've known them for probably 25 years. I think as long as I've been in New Jersey for like 30 years, maybe like I said, between 25 and 30. We've only been to two churches, so we've gotten to be really good friends with all those people. So that's our second set of friends. Third set of friends. I'm originally from Colorado, and I moved out here, via college, and met my wife. And so a lot of her friends, she has a really great core group of friends from college, which now I've known them for 25 years too, and they're amazing. So they're just phenomenal too. Um, and then our last group of friends is again mainly I mean they're my friends now because it's been all 25 years, but they're friends that my wife had growing up in the neighborhood when she was little. And they're just phenomenal. Like our kids know each other, know their kids. It's just fantastic. As a matter of fact, I could see one of our issues in retirement is having too many groups of friends and they all want to do stuff. And I have any of you have been watching my channel, I have a fair amount allocated towards vacations, but I do worry we're gonna have too many vacations to go on. So let's get back on topic here. So in each one of these groups, you have different relations with them, so it kind of comes out differently, right? So the first thing, I didn't announce my retirement to everybody. As a matter of fact, there was some people who didn't know I had retired until I had been retired for maybe like 9 months to a year. So I kind of go with the and don't just hang up after I say this, but because I'm going to go through each friend group and how some things were different depending on the friend group. But I kind of look at retirement as kind of like Fight Club. The movie Fight Club. What's the one thing you don't talk about in Fight Club? Fight Club, except for people in Fight Club. So I kind of look at retirement as a lot that same way. People who are retired in general, that's not a rule for all these friend groups, so which I'll get into in a minute because they'll probably apply to you too. But it it's basically, if you got to think about your friends, right? Because if they're not retired, and especially if you're retiring like I retired at 57, then the last thing they want to hear about is somebody who's gotten out of the works, because it just depresses them. It makes them sad. So so that's kind of my general rule is the Fight Club rule for retirement. But there are some that it's different, right? So my neighbors who we would walk 3 times a week, me and these guys, we would walk like 3 times a week. We've known each other for a gajillion years. Um, so there was really no hiding it. I was trying to encourage these guys to retire. So like 5, 6 years ago, when I started really doing a plan, I um I really was telling them, hey, I'm putting this plan together, da 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 da. I actually wanted to form a retirement club with them and sit down and just share all our numbers. And I did share my numbers with them. I shared some of the planning I'd done, things of that nature. But they didn't seem too terribly interested in it. I think one of the guys was a bit young, and the other guy has his own business, so he has a lot of control and he likes to do stuff. So he's a little worried about not having something to do, but I think we're going to get together and talk more details with him. So these guys knew my plan and we were walking 3 days a week. And so a lot of times we'd walk and be like, oh, today sucked at work or whatever. And that conversation kind of started stopping. So they found out really quickly that I had retired. Now for them, I I don't talk about it much. The one guy we're so tight with, that's like our gym. I go to his garage because we have my stuff in there and his stuff in there. but 3 days a week I go into his garage and work out. I think he's going to start joining me soon. But I mean, he'd worked out with us for a while, and then he had some heart issues. So those particularly those two guys, like they knew almost immediately that I had retired. Within like a week or two, they knew because we walked all the time. We talked. When you sit and it's just you and a couple dudes and you're walking for like an hour and a half, you end up talking about all sorts of stuff. So it came out, and really how I maintain those relationships now is I'm very acutely aware not to talk about it unless they ask. Even when we're texting, I don't text them in hours where I normally wouldn't have been working. And it's like it's not any weird thing. I just don't want them to feel bad. Like when they receive a text from me at 3 o'clock, hey, what are we doing tonight? Like even for example, tonight I'm gonna walk with one of my friends, and I'll either text them early in the morning or at lunch or after work. And just because they don't need reminders that I'm not working and they're stuck working. So I think generally I don't bring it up much. And I guess that's the rule across the board. Even with my friends from church, they found out a little bit later, just because they're not. I may see them once a week, or I may see them every couple of weeks, but I'll see them in environments where we have a topic we're going to talk about or something like that. One of my really good friends from church, who we've known forever, he they found out pretty quickly because we go on vacation, and we just spent a lot of time together. We would go do things. So we would go somewhere for a couple days or something like that. And kind of what it boils down to is if you're on top of people a lot, then they're probably going to find out. Like some of the college friends, it took a little longer to find out, and it would always be in the same circumstance, right? We would go away for 2, 3 days. It wasn't like we're all just going to see a movie or going for dinner or something like that. It would be we would hang out for a few days and have some real good quality time to talk, and it would come out. But I generally approach that the same philosophy with them. I'm really open to everyone. I'm really hoping with this one friend of mine that we'll sit down and I use two pieces of software, an Excel spreadsheet, and I had originally shared the spreadsheet with them because this was way back when I was just starting. And I don't think they took a big interest. And so since then, I've gone to software. So now I recommend to friends to use software. It's just better than Excel. So generally, that's kind of the philosophy with all of them. And we've really done a good job. I mean, I think it's worked out really well that even though I'm retired, that a lot of my non-retired friends, most of my friends aren't retired. It's just a matter of really being sensitive to them, and not, you don't want to make them feel bad. The one positive thing that's come out of it is like, let's say there's three of you and you're always walking, then one of three of you has a chance of talking about work. And that's not productive generally. And we're all on three different careers. Like my one good friend that I walk with, he's like a senior, to call him a mechanic would be an injustice. Like he works for a big company. Sometimes he has to go to court and stuff to talk about mechanical stuff. So he's like a super high end, was a mechanic years ago, but now he's like a senior, he's in charge of districts and stuff like that. My other friend owns his own contracting business. So, and then I'm a software developer. So our careers don't interlock at all. So we generally don't talk about it much. Um, so that's just, I think that's the hints I wanted to say is just really be sensitive to other people. You can keep your friends. You just gotta, be aware that they're not retired and try and be a little more sensitive to that and kind of keep it like Fight Club, don't over talk about it. It's tempting to be excited about it, but I gotta say, I don't think just looking at my friends, it's impacted our relationship. But like I said, when I did this, I was acutely aware that I was retired and to be acutely sensitive to that they may not be happy in their jobs or that they would like to retire and just don't have the capacity to do so yet. I always encourage all my friends though to have a plan. I'm trying to get one of my friends to, he's older and trying to get him to leave. The sad part is I think he could stop working. I just don't think they put a plan together. And I keep encouraging him, dude, put a plan together, write a book, do something interesting. Um, because he works 6 days a week. So anyhow, I thought it was a good video because I was thinking of it today. So just generally, apply the Fight Club rule. What's the number one Fight Club rule? We don't talk about Fight Club. So it's just the people that are in Fight Club that you talk about Fight Club with. So have a great day. I hope this is helpful for you. Just be aware, and look at, just like I look at my four friend groups separately. Each of those, your different friends may have different, ways of responding to it. Maybe some really want it. Most of my friends, generally, I feel, don't want to hear about it. But who knows? Maybe you'll have one that's close, and they'll be like, "Tell me all about it." So have a great day. Keep shooting for retirement. Later.